Hi, everybody. I'm Tyler Newitt. Most of you, all of you, should have had some sort of contact with me. We're very excited to have you here to have this information session. And I'm going to throw some slides on the screen for us, if I can figure that out. Hopefully, we're done with the technical difficulties for today. Let's see. All right. So welcome, everybody. And congratulations. This is a very exciting and exclusive group that you're a part of, and we're very excited to have you here to go over the ins and outs of the UNLP Fellowship. The bulk of this meeting is going to be question and answer format, so we can answer any questions that you might have about the fellowship, about all that comes along with it, but we do have a few frequently asked questions and common issues that we're going to go over beforehand. So welcome again and congratulations. So wanted to give just a quick overview of the fellowship. You all should have hopefully seen all this information already, but it never hurts to go back over it. So the fellowship is a 3-year award. If you're doing less than 3 years, if you're doing a master's program, it'll be less than that, but all of this information still applies. So the fellowship stipend is $40,000 per year, and that's prorated over 12 months. So you should get the same amount every month. And there's also a $15,000 cost of education allowance. That generally goes to cover your tuition, but also books, fees, room and board, stuff like that. And that is also, again, prorated over that 12-month period. You also get $1,000 in annual research travel. So things like presenting at conferences or traveling to do research at a national lab or some other research facility. There's $1,000 of support every year for you there. And you can't access that early, but it does roll over. So if you don't use the full $1,000 in your first year, then you have $2,000 available to you in your second year. And there's also a $7,000 one-time internship housing and travel allowance, and we'll go into a bit more detail on that later on in this presentation. And that goes right into your required 10-week internship. That is 10-week minimum. So of course you can do a longer internship if that's what works out with you and whoever you're working with. It must be DOE NE approved. And what that means, you can assume any national laboratory that's doing nuclear research is automatically approved. And there's lots of other options that are available to you. Whether that's industry or some other national research facility. But if it's not a national lab, we're going to need to approve that interning institution. You also need to submit a report upon completion of your internship. That is just for our record keeping and to make sure that this internship is going to help you on your fellowship. Also, something that's very exciting for us, we just had our first Nuclear UK experience last year, or this past summer, with last year's fellows. It's an optional experience that you do need to apply for because unfortunately we don't have the funding to take all of you, but it's a really awesome opportunity that occurs during this first summer of your fellowship, so next summer, and we'll have some more information on that later. We also request annual progress reports. This is a requirement, so you'll need to submit a report every year that summarizes your progress, any work that you've done, any papers that you've published as a result of your fellowship, and uh, we'll need your advisor's approval and sign off on that at the end. And then it's a long way off. I know you're not thinking 8 years down the line right now, but we do ask that you provide us with 5 years of career updates after your fellowship completes. And this is honestly really important for us because it helps us to justify continued support for this program. We have a really excellent rate of success of fellows who go on to do really incredible things in the nuclear energy field, but we only know about that if you tell us. So Crystal will be bothering you for 5 years after your fellowship finishes, but it's really important for us that you reply. And I'm realizing I dove right into this and skipped over introductions aside from myself. So we've got a few important people on the line that you will want to get to know. As I said, I'm Tyler Newitt. I lead up the UNLP program here at the integration office. We also have Crystal, who works alongside me here, and she is your go-to for any questions or concerns with reporting or your internship or anything kind of after the fact that you have questions about. Crystal will be your main point of contact. So you'll be getting lots of emails from her in the not too distant future about your fellowship. We also have Dr. John Gilligan on the line. He is our NEUP office director. He leads up our program, is a huge proponent of the UNLP fellowship, and we're very grateful to have him. I don't think Jenna has been able to get online yet that I can see, but hopefully you'll be hearing from Jenna Payne later, who is our DOE program manager. She will be guiding the program from the DOE perspective. So they will be helping to answer questions later, and also if you have questions along the way, Crystal and I are going to be your main points of contact, but they'll be who we're consulting with. Also, we have Cece Bell on the line. Cece is our communications director here, so she's going to talk about the UK trip, which she was part of, and also she'll be the one who we want you to send pictures to. If you get pictures taken on any of your internships, we'd love to use those for our promotional materials, but also, internally, we like having promotional materials or, success stories. If you, just want to talk about how awesome your fellowship is, Cece is going to be the one that you get in touch with. So with that out of the way, let's move on to our frequently asked questions and common issues that we run into. So the first set we have is to do with funding. And the first is a very general question that we get a lot, which is, can I use my cost of education allowance on insert insert option here? And the answer you're going to get if you ask Crystal or I that question is, did you check the RFA? The RFA, or request for applications, is a document you should all have seen already, since it is the kind of guiding document for the application process. But it's also going to be helpful for you to reference as you go through your fellowship. If you have any questions a lot of the most basic questions, Crystal and I are just referencing that document. So um, that's what you're going to want to check first. You can find that on our website, which is neup.gov. And that will hopefully get you going in the right direction. If you have a specific situation that isn't directly addressed in the RFA, of course, feel free to reach out to me or to Crystal, and we'll be happy to help sort through your specific situation. Um, and then that RFA, as I mentioned, is at nup.gov. If you go to the Student Opportunities tab, that's where you'll find it under fellowship. So that is going to be a consistent theme here. First thing to check is always the RFA. Another funding question we get a lot is, hey, I didn't end up using all of my travel funds or my internship allowance or my cost of education allowance. What can I do with them? And this is one where we really want you to reach out to us kind of as soon as this is a thing that you run into. If you have unused funds at the end of the 3-year tenure, there are usually avenues that some of those funds can be repurposed, but we want to work with you on that and figure out how that'll work. Specifically for the internship allowance or any stipend that you forfeit if you are getting outside compensation for your internship, that is not eligible to be used at the end of your fellowship, and that'll be pulled back. But we do also need you to let us know if that is the case. And again, we have a contact information slide at the end of this. You all should have my email anyway from me reaching out to you about the fellowship, but Crystal or I are going to be your main points of contact for any questions that you have about unused funds. And again, just a reminder that this is more not for you to know, but for advisors or other award administrators on the call. The stipend must be paid out in 12-month prorated amounts. That is stipulated directly in the RFA. So the students should see the same amount coming in every month. And if you're doing an internship or something where you're not receiving your stipend, that doesn't change the stipend amounts. Now to the internship, which is honestly, I think, where we get most of the questions from our fellows. It's a really big part of the UNLP fellowship, broadly speaking. And the first question is, can I do an internship with an industry partner? The answer is yes, as long as it's approved. So just please make sure that you're reaching out to us early. We don't want you to run into a situation where it's a last minute thing, you didn't check, and now it might not be approved. Generally, the earlier you reach out to us, the better. We're happy to answer questions. That's what we're here for. So please get in touch with us if you have any questions like that. Can I do my internship early or late? Early doesn't really apply to any of you. We're already past your first summer. It's not usually possible for us to make internship funds available before the start of your fellowship. So that's not usually an option anyway, except for very specific circumstances where, if you're already doing an internship that you're being compensated for and you just want it to count towards that internship requirement, sometimes that's an option. But again, for all of you on the call today, I don't think that that's going to apply. Late internships are not usually an option. We do say in the RFA that you need to have your internship completed by the second summer of your fellowship. There are obviously a few cases where that is not possible. And in those cases, again, we just ask you to let us know, reach out to us as soon as you know that this is going to be an issue, and we'll work with you on that. Can you do an additional internship? Yes, of course. You know, we're the goal of the fellowship is for you to grow into nuclear energy professionals. So doing additional work in the nuclear energy field is always exciting. The only caveat on that is that it shouldn't hinder your degree progression. So um, the fellowship, the goal of the fellowship is obviously to help you finish your graduate degree. And if the internship is helping towards that, it's helping your research, that's awesome. But we don't want it to take away from your degree. And the $7,000 internship allowance is only available once. So if you use your allowance in the first internship that you do, there's not going to be 7,000 more dollars made available to you for that second internship. But again, if you are okay with that, if you're getting you know your stipend or other funding, we're usually all right with you doing another internship. And can I extend my internship past those 10 weeks? Yes. Again, with everything else, with our approval, and here with your advisor's approval as well. We just want to make sure, for the same reason as doing an additional internship, that this isn't something that's going to take you away from your fellowship research. So it's usually allowable. Just as soon as you know that this is going to be a thing, we ask you to get in touch with us and get that approval. And some more common issues here, or just general information to make sure you're aware of. The first one sounds silly, but please make sure that your interning institution, wherever you're doing your internship, knows that you will be there. You would be surprised how often we run into a situation where a student shows up to do an internship and the lab or the company has no idea that they're going to be there. And the reason for that is because this is what's called an externally funded internship. So you're receiving your fellowship stipend and the internship allowance. It means that usually the lab is not paying you. And that all the labs have a process for handling externally funded interns, but sometimes that is not communicated appropriately. So work with your internship mentor, work with your advisor, make sure that the lab knows you're coming, or wherever you're doing your internship, they know that you're coming. It's very important that all that is sorted out so that you can take full advantage of your internship. And again, this is maybe a bit repetitive. Hopefully you all understand. But if you are paid for your internship by the lab or by the company that you're working for, you need to forfeit your stipend funds. We don't want students receiving additional compensation unfairly. We call it double dipping. So you need to forfeit those funds. Those funds will be pulled back at the end of your fellowship. So those aren't available to you. So make sure that you're aware of that going into it and you're making that decision with the knowledge that those stipend funds won't be available to you if you receive compensation for your internship. The same goes for the internship allowance. You have the full $7,000 available to you to use as necessary for your internship, but if you receive housing support or travel support from wherever you're doing your internship, then you do need to forfeit the $7,000 allowance as well. So be aware of that. Make sure that you're making the best decision for you, but also we want to make sure that you're following the rules of the fellowship. So if you are going to be receiving that additional compensation, please let us know. We have it on your internship approval form, so there's really no reason that you shouldn't be able to let us know, and we don't want it to cause issues down the road. Again, for reporting, we're going to send out a form for you to fill out once you complete your internship. This is important for us to track that the internship is still a worthwhile component of your fellowships. So please do fill that out. It is a requirement, so you will need to, or Crystal will pester you until you do. If you are selected for the UK experience, that is going to be at in the summer of your first year, so this upcoming summer. So do keep that in mind if you are already planning ahead for an internship this coming summer, but you also want to go on the UK trip. You will need to plan around that. When we have more, when we send out the application request for the UK experience, we'll have more specific dates and plans in place for you to factor in for your decision making there. And as I mentioned before, if you get photos taken during your internship, we would love to have those so that we can use them for promotional material and generally in our fellowship presentations. You would have seen some photos from fellows on the first slide. We just want to be able to show you off and promote the fellowship that way. So if you can get those to us, to me or Crystal or Cece, we would be happy to have those. Next up is reporting. If you are at a different school than you did your undergrad and applied with, or if your school email changes, please make sure that you have an email address, or that we have an email address that you are checking regularly. The reporting component of the fellowship is very important for us, which means that it's important for us to be able to get in contact with you. So please make sure that we have an updated email address for you. I know several of you have already reached out to me with updated email addresses, which I really appreciate. But yeah, if you are noticing that the emails that we send out are going to not the email address that you check most often, please let us know so we can update that. And then during your fellowship, the emails that you're going to be receiving are during your fellowship. You'll get an email every March, just reminding you to complete your annual report, which will be in the system that you applied in. That'll be coming from Crystal, and again, that is required, so please do answer those. And then after the conclusion of your fellowship, I already mentioned this before, but you'll be sent an email requesting information on your career progress. I know you will all be busy doing very important nuclear energy related work, but we really appreciate the updates that you provide, because it lets us show how impactful that this program is. So please do think about that and help Crystal out so she doesn't have to bug you for those reports. And next we've got our UK experience, and I'm actually going to turn it over to Cece for a few minutes to talk about the UK experience, what it is, what some of the cool highlights were, and what you all who apply and are accepted can potentially get to experience next summer. Go ahead, Cece.
Thanks, Tyler. So I'm really excited to talk about the UK experience because it really is so cool. We were able to go this July, and so recently got back. It is about a week-long experience where you get to tour different nuclear sites or facilities in the UK and make international connections. It was really cool. We were able to visit the Sellafield and Springfield nuclear sites, as well as universities that have nuclear programs and the UK National Nuclear Laboratory. All the students had unique research focus areas. However, some overall favorites of the group were seeing the production of fuel pellets, watching them be inserted into fuel rods, and the whole tour of Manchester University. The students were jaw dropped at their facilities, their equipment, and how awesome the professors were there. Um, the Sellafield lab we went to at the very beginning of the trip, and they actually, after the tour, set up a handful, probably over 10 researchers in their respective research areas and their little mini labs, and rotated groups of students throughout each little station. Um, and that was really, really cool for all the students to see all these different researchers were studying the ideas and concepts they had, and how those studies were applicable to nuclear research, or how concepts that they use for nuclear research are being used in other areas. So that was really, really cool. Not every single presentation or tour is relevant to every single student, because again, there's 10 different students of different backgrounds. But I had several students tell me, even though this isn't what I'm particularly researching right now, it was so cool to see what everyone else is doing, get the big picture of the whole process of nuclear, and see where their research fits into that process and the overall nuclear mission. So that was still really, really awesome. Aside from academics, the students raved about the food. So we did not have a single meal that wasn't outstanding and delicious. They were able to have some free time to explore, and the entire group of 10 strangers got along seamlessly. They were all great together. So overall, the trip is extremely enlightening and educational, but it's also super fun. And the students leave with knowledge, education, new friends, and international connections. So you will have to apply for the UK experience, and 10 10 of you will be selected to go there. And again, like Tyler said, it'll be this next upcoming summer.
Awesome. Thanks, Cece. Yes, as Cece mentioned, applications for the 10 of you that'll be selected will open this fall. We don't have an exact time frame for that, but it will be later this fall, and we'll let you know. The application, we're just looking for a statement of why you want to go, how you think you'll benefit from a trip to the UK, and then some information about the research you're doing. We are trying to make sure that the students who or the fellows who do go end up with a valuable experience, and part of that make sure that the research aligns with what they're doing in the UK. So it's a really awesome trip, and looking forward to planning that again for next year. And now some just general, general information before we go into our question and answer. Please read the RFA. I know I mentioned at the top, but I'm mentioning it again because it's the most important document as far as your fellowship is concerned. It will help us and help you a lot if you're familiar with that. Just make sure you know what's allowed, what is expected. That'll be help everybody if you are familiar with it. And again, that's at neup.gov. And just generally speaking, the team here is here to make sure that your fellowship is successful. And that means that we are here to answer any questions that you have, any feedback that you have on the experience. We want to hear it all. So please, get in touch with us if you have questions, anything that you're unsure about, or we won't be able to, I'm sure, answer every single one of your questions here today. So please do reach out to myself and Crystal, and we're happy to help. I'll have our contact information up at the end if you don't have it. Just a specific tidbit, if you do request your research travel funds and then don't end up using them, we do need to know that. So please, again, with the general theme of letting us know as soon as you have any questions or concerns, please let us know about that. If you need your award agreement number or your university contact, so whoever is the PI for the UNLP program at your university, let me or Crystal know. We have all that information, and we can provide that to you if you need it. And then just a list of some of the things that you can expect to need our approval for. That is if you are transferring. So if you at some point need to change the school you're at, that needs our approval, so please let us know. That is only an option during the summer. So unfortunately, if you're transferring between the fall and spring semesters, that's not an option. Please let us know, obviously, but that isn't allowable per the RFA. So if you are going to be transferring, plan to do that in the summer. We're just going to need the guidelines are spelled out in the RFA, but mostly what we're looking for is approval from advisors both at the school you're at and the school you're going to, a reason for transferring and any changes to your research that will be occurring because of the transfer to get that approval. And along those same lines, another thing that you'll need our approval for is if there are significant changes in your research plan. That is from what you submitted when you applied. If you are doing slightly different research within the same general area, that's fine. But if you're doing anything that is going to deviate significantly in plan or scope from what you submitted with your application, we do need to know that. So please let us know so we can approve it. If you have any changes to your fellowship tenure, so if you applied and said you were going to do a master's degree and you decide, hey, I want to do a PhD and continue my research through to that PhD, let us know. If you do it the other way, if you applied with a PhD and you're like, I'm going to stop at my master's in 2 years, I've done all the research I want to do, we need to know that as well and approve it. So let us know. And the same goes for any deferrals, such as medical deferrals or military deferrals. Those processes are also laid out in the RFA, but we do need to approve those. So please do let us know. We're going to jump into our Q&A portion for all of you to ask any questions you might have. But before we do, I did see that Jenna was able to jump in. So Jenna, if you just want to introduce yourself and give a quick summary of what you do for the UNLP program, and then we'll jump into questions.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Just want to say a quick thank you for joining us today. This is a lot of information, a lot of important information for your fellowship. So really appreciate you taking the time to listen to everything we have to say. Again, it's a lot being thrown at you. So as Tyler said, if you have any questions at all, please feel free to reach out to one of us. We're here to help you. We're here to help make you successful. And we want to make sure that your fellowship is running smoothly at your university. So if we can be of any assistance, please let us know. I probably should have started with just introducing myself, but I'm the Federal Program Manager here at the Office of Nuclear Energy for the UNLP opportunities. So very excited to answer any questions that you have or help you through anything during these next 3 years of your fellowship. So I'll pass it back over to you, Tyler, for questions.
All right. I see we've got some questions in the chat already. You can also, I think you should be able to use the raise hand function, and we can unmute you if you want to ask your question out loud. I'm going to go through our chat questions first. The first one is, if the education allowance is not sufficient to cover tuition and fringe, can the university use related federal funding to cover the shortfall? I believe, and Jenna, you can jump in here if I'm off base. The answer is yes, as long as it doesn't come with any work requirement or other stipulation that pulls the student away from the fellowship research. Is that right, Jenna?
Yeah, I think that's right. Tyler, is John on? I know part of the agreement with the university is that the cost of education allowance is to cover. They shouldn't have. They need to come up with the funding some other way, but I'm not sure how the universities usually do that. So John could probably speak a lot better to that than I could.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, I think Jenna's right. The university could do that as long as Tyler says, doesn't conflict with the progress towards degree that the fellowship is geared towards. So, yeah, so it's kind of up to them.
All right. Is there a limit to how long internships can be extended? In theory, no. But again, this all comes back to the requirement that it's not halting your degree progress, right? So if the internship is getting extended for enough time that you're not progressing your degree, then that's not allowable. But assuming you're doing relevant research and the extension is approved, then there's no issue there. Thanks for the question, Evelyn. Alicia, what is the official start date for the fellowship, specifically for the stipend? I wish we had Andrew Ford online, but I don't think that I saw him. Actually, I'm going to put our contact information up here. Andrew Ford is our contracting officer for the UNLP program. I believe we had a similar question come through, and the answer I got was that the start date is essentially when the funds get there, which we are in the process of. All of the awards are with Andrew right now. He's working through those, and those should be coming out. Last I heard it in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. So once those are in place, I believe that is when the award starts and can be distributed. Jenna, I don't know if you have any specific information on that.
No, that's correct. As soon as the funds get to your university, you officially start the fellowship. With that being said, we're of course a little late this year in getting everything out the door. So I know with tuition payments and such, if you get into a pickle with the university, please feel free to reach out to us, and we can talk to your university administrator to help get you set up so that they know the funds are coming to cover that tuition cost.
Yeah, thanks, Jenna. All right. Jessica asked, if I am currently in a master's program and want to continue to a PhD to conduct similar research, am I limited to the list of universities on the list of approved universities? That is a tricky question because I think technically the answer is no, but the process of getting universities approved takes time. And if you're if you're doing your last year at a university that isn't approved, it would take some time to get that university approved, and then that would potentially limit the amount of funding that you get in your third year. So it would make it easier for you and for us if you selected a university that is already approved. But I think you know, if we got a head start, if you knew what university you were going to that wasn't approved, and we were able to get that approved in advance of you going to that school to continue your PhD work, that would probably be okay. We would, though, again, with any transfer, we need to make sure that the research that you're doing is close enough to the fellowship research that you submitted, so that it is so that it's approved. Anthony, is the travel allowance $1,000 yearly or $1,000 total? It's $1,000 yearly, and it does roll over. So if you don't use any or all of the $1,000 in year one, that will roll over to year two, and the same goes for year three. Does the travel allowance get paid through the school or to us? From Sarah. So everything, all of the funding from the award is going to go through your school. The fellowship, to jump back to the approved universities question and comment, the way that our fellowship works is that universities apply to the UNLP funding opportunity, and they are selected to administer the funding. So we at NEUP don't actually handle the distribution of your funding. The universities are approved to handle that funding on our behalf, and they will distribute it to you. So you will need to go through your university's Office of Sponsored Programs or Grants Office, or wherever the fellowship is handled through, in order to get any of the funds associated with your fellowship. If your university is not yet UNLP approved, which leads to a delay in funds being administered, do I forfeit the funds from the period of delay? I believe, and I don't want to speak incorrectly here, there should be an option to potentially delay the start of your award for a semester. Jenna and John, is that correct?
Yeah, I think that would be a circumstance where we would allow a student to delay the start of the fellowship. So if you're going to start in September, but the funds aren't there yet, we can potentially start you in January for the next semester.
Right. I don't think we penalize the student for something like that. So I think that's correct.
Great. All right. Thank you both. Theo asked, upon the completion of the third year of consecutive funding via UNLP, if I'm pursuing a PhD, is there any sort of agreement between UNLP and the university to match the funding for the duration of my studies, or will we have to find different aid? So there's not. There's not. The UNLP funding is for 3 years, and I think the hope is that you have, either through internships or working with your professor, found the additional funding to complete whatever you have left on your degree. There's not additional funding available through the UNLP program. If a student is on a teaching fellowship that requires him or her on a small teaching assistantship with pay, can the TA salary be paid to the student beyond the fellowship stipend? So there is a general, I should have had the RFA pulled up for this, but the language is basically that students are allowed to take a small amount of additional work as long as it is not, I'm just going to pull up the RFA so I have the exact language here. But while that's loading, the short answer is usually that is an option, as long as it's not the TA position is not taking a substantial amount of the student's time, as it relates to them progressing with their fellowship research. Right, I'm going to come back to that one. Actually, Crystal, if you could find that language in the RFA so that we have the exact wording, we'll come back to that question. And maybe if you could just put it in the chat so that we have it there. Is it allowable to do the internship in the final summer of the fellowship under the condition that is secured by the end of the second year? Thanks, Lena. Yes, so that is, as we mentioned before, you just need to make sure that you have approval from us on that. It can be an option, but we want to make sure that everything's in place because there is that internship requirement, and we don't want to have you lose your fellowship because of it. So yeah, just please make sure that as soon as you know that that is something that you're going to be pursuing, you let me or Crystal know so that we can run that through approvals. Max asked, could I choose to shorten the fellowship to 1 year, and would I still be required to complete the internship? So for master's programs, if you were to do just a 1 year, I need to look, but I believe the internship requirement is waived if you are doing just 1 year. So we will. I'll double check on that, but I'm pretty sure no, you would not have to complete the internship if you just do 1 year fellowship for your master's program. But if you are going to only be doing 1 year, please do, again, as with everything, please let us know as soon as possible so that we can make sure that we have that, because we'll need to pull the funds back that you don't end up using. When will awardees be announced on the NAUP website, and do travel funds apply to this year? So travel funds do apply to this year. That $1,000 starts as soon as your award is administered. So once that's out, that $1,000 is there for you to use within the first 12 months of your fellowship. And I don't know that we have information on when we'll be doing website announcements. Jenna, is there any information there that we can give?
No, usually when we announce on the website, we don't announce the student's name. It's just the universities that are provided. This year we kind of had a slimmed down approach to notifications for the scholarships and fellowships. So I'm not clear if we're going to be able to put an announcement on the website at this time.
That's right. But you are free to tell whoever you like if your professors want to highlight that you're receiving the fellowship. It is public information, so you're free to share that with whoever you like. All right, that is all the questions that I see in the chat. Does anyone have their hand up? Sorry, I'm sure there were people who wanted to raise their hand and ask a question, and then they kept coming through the chat. All right. Jay says, should I contact UNLP or the school department if there's delays or issues with the stipend disbursement? So first, contact your school department, since they are the ones who are directly handling those funds and administering them. If you are not getting the information that you need from the school department, please do reach out to us, and we can work with them and work with you to make sure that gets resolved. But first course of action is to work with the school, since they're the ones directly handling those funds. And I see Crystal has put the language from the RFA. Thank you for finding that, Crystal. So I think, as we've been saying, if you have something like this, just get in touch with us, and we can, so we know and we can approve it. But the as long as the activities are not taking away from the fellowship research, then it is an option. Did I get to everybody? When we wish to go on travel, do we contact the school or you? Both. So you'll need to obviously get into contact with the school to access those travel funds, but you will also need to get in touch with Crystal to make sure that that travel is approved. So is that right, Crystal?
Yeah, I'll just jump in here.
Sure.
The first thing you need to do is submit a travel request form. And once that is approved, and you send that to me, once that is approved, then you can take that form to your school. Generally, it's a reimbursement. And you can, if you're like booking flights and you pay for things in advance, you can have that reimbursed prior to travel, and then whatever leftover expenses you have when you return, you can get the remainder of that after your travel. So first you get the form, and then once you start, after you have paid for any of your travel expenses, that's when you go to the school. And like Tyler has mentioned, that will be through, I mean, you can talk to the PI on it, or the Office of Sponsored Programs is who is going to do those reimbursements. If you have any questions about who you need to contact, just let me know and I'll send you that information.
Awesome. Thanks, Crystal. Jay asked, will the recording of this session be available to us? I believe so. It should be, once we stop recording, it should be available to everyone who registered, and CC just said yes, it will be available. So thanks for that, CC. And also, we are going to send out the slides from this as well, so you'll have access to both of those. All right, if I wish to take a U.S. Particle Accelerator School class in the winter and they have a tuition, can I use the travel funds to reimburse it because it technically isn't provided by my university? That is an interesting question. I don't know. Jenna or John, do you have any idea on that one?
Well, you'd have to let us know about it. We could consider it. And just what the situation is and the cost and all that. If it's part of a trip, and or whether it's a remote experience, we just have to get all the details. So it's a possibility, but you'd have to let us know, and we'd have to take a look at it.
Awesome. Thank you, John. Yeah, and just doubling up on that, and what I was saying before. When in doubt, just ask. We're here to help, and we are, like I said, we're wanting to make sure that your fellowship is successful, and that you can do everything you want to do to advance your career. But it's much easier for us if you ask, and if you ask before and not after. So the sooner the better, always, if you just ask. What if a student conducts more than one internship at a lab and use $7K for one of the internship and the lab covers the cost for the other internship? Is that allowed? Yes. So the internship allowance is for is one-time use for one internship, but if the lab is covering that, that is okay, as long as all of that is approved. there's no issues there. Cherish asks, is there a Slack channel or group for the UNLP fellows so that we can all stay in touch with one another? There isn't. We have been trying to think of ways that we can make the fellowship more, the fellows more of a community, and that is certainly a good idea. We're hoping that this session would also help to you know, to get everyone in touch with each other and with us here at NEUP. It's a good idea. I think we need to, on our end, just make sure that there's no concerns with privacy, and we're always wary of handing out PII, personally identifiable information. But like I said, we've been looking for ways to try and make this more of a community. So if you hear from me, we might be considering options to start something like that. So great comment. Thanks for that, Cherish.
Great, thank you.
All right, I think we're over time here, so which is totally fine. As I said, this recording will be made available afterwards, so feel free if you need to drop off.